Why Starlink couldn't break the Iranian internet blackout. Communication still dark over Iran. As Iran's internet shutdown began, satellite internet was widely discussed as a possible fallback. Starlink, which had previously been activated over conflict zones, was briefly enabled for coverage over Iran during the blackout period. However, civilian connectivity through satellite internet did not materialize. Satellite internet systems like Starlink do not operate independently of other signals. While data is transmitted directly between satellites and user terminals, those systems rely on precise satellite positioning and timing to establish and maintain a stable link, and that synchronization depends on GPS signals. Independent monitoring data from the same period showed widespread interference with GPS signals across large parts of Iran. When GPS timing and positioning are disrupted, satellite terminals struggle to acquire or maintain a reliable connection, even when satellite coverage is technically available. In practical terms, satellite could be switched on, but devices on the ground were unable to lock on consistently. The result was not an alternative internet pathway, but another channel rendered ineffective. GPS interference over Iran on January 13th, 2026. Independent monitoring data showed widespread signal disruption during the internet blackout, coinciding with the failure of satellite based connectivity to reach civilians. This mattered because it demonstrated that the blackout was not limited to cutting cables or mobile networks. It extended to neutralizing space-based alternatives that might otherwise allow information to flow out. The blackout was not an absence of technology, but the denial of function. What happened in Iran illustrates how modern internet blackouts are no longer limited to shutting down websites or disabling mobile data. They are layered. Terrestrial internet can be severed, satellite alternatives neutralized, and legally regulated fallback channels silenced at the same time. Physical movement can continue while communication does not. The result is not just disconnection, but isolation by design. A short Q&A, questions and answers explainer. If Starlink was enabled over Iran, why couldn't people use it? Satellite internet depends on precise GPS timing and positioning to establish and maintain a connection. During the blackout, independent monitoring data showed widespread GPS interference across Iran. Without reliable GPS signals, satellite terminals struggle to lock on even when coverage exists. Does this mean that Starlink failed? Not exactly. Coverage could be enabled, but conditions on the ground prevented consistent civilian use. The limitation was environmental, not simply a switch being turned off. Why is this significant? Well, because it shows that the blackout was not accidental or limited to traditional networks. Multiple redundant communication paths were rendered ineffective at the same time. Were there any other alternatives? Well, amateur radio, historically a fallback during crises, were also silent. Iran tightly restricts licensed operators and limits transmissions to non political content. No such activity was observable during the blackout.